Hi again, Pastor Tom Carter, Word Without Walls Ministry, with another guerrilla gospel message for you. And the message tonight comes from a discussion that Logan and I were having the other night when we were praying, and the title of that message is Hope. So here's Logan. He wants to say hi. And really what we were talking about when we were praying is how kind of sad it is, really, that sometimes people feel like nobody loves them. And when you feel like that, you really feel hopeless. You feel like, you can feel lonely, or you can feel hopeless, or you can feel all alone, even when you're in a crowded room. Because it's not about how many people you're with, it's about how many people are with you. And sometimes you feel like nobody's with you. Sometimes you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets you, nobody's got your back. Sometimes you feel like you're all alone. And that's kind of what it means to be hopeless, to feel like nobody's got your back. When in fact, and when really in truth, the truth of the matter is that God always has your back. He swore he would never leave you nor forsake you. So again, with this idea of Word Without Walls ministry, of knocking out the walls and making this word, which is Jesus, which is love, accessible, making it easy. I don't want to spend up too much time or bog you down with too much scripture. I want to, give you something that you can use when the rubber meets the road, something that you can use in real life, something that will edify you and build you up. Not something that you will choke on, but rather this idea of like a minced meat hit and run service where it's something to chew on, but it won't choke you. So I just want to read 2 verses today and kind of connect them, and hopefully show that hopefully show that there is hope even when you feel hopeless. So the first verse I want to read is 1 Corinthians 13:13. And in the King James it reads, "And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these 3. But the greatest of these is charity." And again, I always like to point out that, to me at least, charity is just simply love in action. It's not the idea of love. It's not saying I love you and then not doing anything about it. But it's when the word is made flesh. And in the beginning, John wrote, in the beginning, the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And then through the cross, the word started to dwell within us. And I think that's what we're talking about when it says, "And now abideth." These things, faith, hope, and charity, these aren't just things that we have, but these are things that we are, right? And when the word is made flesh, that's when the word in us is made flesh in action. Charity, love in action. And that's the greatest of these, because the other two, I think, I think faith and hope are different aspects of love, but I think faith and hope kind of lead to charity. They kind of lead to that action, because as we're going to see, the faith that we're supposed to have as Christians, so many times it seems like we have faith in faith. Like we think, if I believe hard enough, this will happen. When really in the Bible, Jesus said, have faith in God. And since God is love, I think another way to say that is have faith in love. And hope, what else could we be talking about but Christ in you, the hope of glory? And really what that verse is talking about is the hope of revealed glory, because God's glory is in us, because God is in us, love is in us. God's glory is love. And when people see love, they see his glory. When people see love, they see his face. So we're not hoping that something will happen. What we're hoping is that what's inside of us will come out of us, in a sense. And when you know and believe what's inside of you, it will come out of you. Whatever you believe is in there is what comes out. Because you can't give what you don't have, and you can only give what you do have. So if you know and believe the love of Christ in you, then what you're doing is you're filling yourself to overflowing with what you've already been filled with. And when it overflows, that's when it comes out. So when we're talking about hope, when we're talking about giving other people hope, in a sense, well, let me read my other verse, and hopefully I can kind of tie this together. I really don't want to go long tonight. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 21 reads like this: "Who by him do believe in God, that raised him up from the dead, and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in God. So again, here's the struggle we find. We put faith in things other than God. We put our hope in things other than God. We hope this will happen, or we hope that'll happen. You know, we hope so-and-so will text us, or, you know, whatever it is. When really, our faith, I'll say it again because Jesus said it. He said, have faith in God, right? And it's Christ in you that is our hope. That is the hope of glory, which again, it says, God, you know, it says he displayed his glory when he raised Jesus up from the dead. And he didn't just raise Jesus up from the dead, he raised us up from the dead with Jesus, in Jesus. Because before the cross, we were dead in our trespasses and sins. And then through the cross, we were quickened and made alive with Jesus, right? I was crucified with Christ. I died, yet I live, but it's not me, but it's him living in me. So we don't have to hope that that's going to happen. We know that that has happened. Our hope is not something in the future, right? Our hope is that what has happened manifests in our life, if I can say it that way. And the way that it manifests in our life is when we move in love, when we walk in newness of life, when we receive the gift that we've been given by releasing the gift that we've been given, by giving away what we have, that love inside of us. So when we have hope in God, in love, when we have faith in God, in love, that's when we can share that faith. That's when we can give others hope. And really, I think that's what it comes down to. You know, I kind of use the example of getting a text from somebody. That's something you really hope for. But really, at a deeper level, what we hope for is love. We hope to have that connection with other people, that relationship with other people. We hope that if we put ourselves out there, we won't get rejected. And the best way to give someone else hope or to fulfill that hope is then to accept people, to not reject people, to make sure that we don't make people feel like they're all alone, even if they're in a crowded room, to display God's glory to people by loving people, to be accommodating, to be nice. I mean, that's as simple as I can make it. If somebody hopes so badly that somebody will connect with them, and then you meet them where they're at, not expecting them to come up to where you're at, not expecting them to be someone that they're not expecting them to fit inside whatever box you think they should fit inside, but just accepting them where they are for who they are, when you can extend a hand and say, hey, I'm with you. You know, maybe I don't agree with what you did, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to help you. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to love you. Right? The Bible says in another place that nothing can separate us from the love of God. So that's why we can have faith in it, because he has proven himself faithful. That's why we can have hope in him, because really, again, if you're hoping for love, you're hoping in God. You're putting your hope in him. And you know, sometimes that can be tricky because sometimes we put all of our eggs in one basket. You know, sometimes we think, well, if I don't get it from this person, then I'm not going to get it, which you may be missing out on it from somebody else because you're so focused on the other thing. But what I'm trying to say is, on our part, we can give people faith. We can give people hope. And when you're hopeless and then when you think it's so dark out and then someone shines a little bit of light, man, that can mean everything. So again, it's just this idea of we all want to be loved. All right. That's what we hope for. That's what we desire. That's what we wish for. You know, pulling flower petals saying, he loves me not. We all just want to be loved. So if you want to help somebody today, and listen, here's the best part. If you want to feel loved today, love someone else. Because love is never about getting, because love is giving. So if you want to have your hope restored, if I can say it that way, restore someone else's. If you want to have your faith strengthened, strengthen someone else's. If you want to feel loved, love someone. Freely you have received, freely give. And in the giving, you experience what you have been given. So again, you know, people, I really think people just want to be loved. And since we have love, since we are love, we are in a unique position to give love, to be love in someone else's life. And then, you know, and then maybe they won't feel hopeless anymore. So, once again, as always, I hope that will help somebody. Again, Logan and I got a little fired up talking about it, so I wanted to kind of explore it a little bit. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you as always for all your support with the videos and the books and the rants. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Logan? Nope, there's his hand. Say bye.